Hi, this is Huili Wan. Welcome to Cloud Access Security Broker CASB Fundamentals. In this video, we'll continue the discussion on proxy deployment mode. In last video, we talked about a reverse proxy. This video is mainly about forward proxy, and then we'll put the three modes together to have a review of the CASB deployment together. Now let's take a look at the flow in forward proxy mode. Here we have a device, and the end user wants to use the device to access to cloud services here. Without a CASB in place, the traffic would go straight to the services respectively. But now we have we have CASB in place, so the traffic is rerouted through CASB control first before it continues to the services. This is kind of a rerouting, but it's different from what we mentioned in the traffic rerouting in reverse proxy mode. In reverse proxy mode, we leveraged the authentication of the cloud service. So when the traffic going through to the authentication, the traffic is redirected to the CASB control and before going back to the cloud. And here the traffic needs to be controlled, scanned before getting to the authentication. How does the rerouting happens? How does the traffic go to CASB instead of going straight to the service? There are a number of technology available, but the examples we're giving here is the pack file or the agent. The proxy auto configuration file, also called pack file, is just a small plain text file in the device that tells the web browser to go to that proxy if you have any egress web flow. And that's one of the ways to direct the traffic. Another way is to have agent that's a small piece of software installed there in the device, communicating with the server side. And the agent would be another way to redirect the traffic. So with that, the traffic is going through CASB for scanning and for examining, and maybe apply some controls like encryption or simply blocking. So we want to mention, since the communication between the device and the server are secured going through SSL protocol, that means the traffic is actually encrypted. But to implement the control, you'll have to examine the payload in the traffic. So that's how SSL termination is the option. Here in CASB, the encrypted traffic flow is getting decrypted here in the examination and apply the control before it continues to be encrypted again and going to the service. The last slide where we have all the traffic going through CASB before moving on to the cloud is called active mode. Now in this slide, we'll talk about the passive mode, which is an optional way to implement forward proxy. In passive mode, the normal workflow is not interrupted. But in addition to that, CASB is still in place, but the workflow or the traffic is copied to go through the CASB visibility control, and it is called out of band or mirroring, because the same packages are sent through to CASB at the same time. The difference between active mode and passive mode is, in passive mode, you will only be able to have visibility or to know what's going on, but there's no approach to really intercept, to block the traffic, or doing encryption and that other sorts of controls. So that's why it's called passive mode. Can't take any action directly to interrupt the flow. In forward proxy, since the traffic is steered to CASB, you have to do something beforehand from the device side, either adding some configuration file or installing agent or some other way. So it only happens at managed device. For unmanaged device, there's no way to have the control put in place beforehand. But the good side for forward proxy that is not able to be covered in either reverse proxy or API mode is the unsanctioned services are included in the scope of control, because even the device is going to send a request. For example, if the user wanted to use the company's device to upload some sensitive information to a unsanctioned to some his personal box, and as long as traffic is going through CASB control, that if there's data loss protection control in place, then that sort of classified data would be detected and triggered the event to block the uploading. And that's the advantage, and that basically fills the gap that reverse proxy or API mode would not be able to cover. That was a brief introduction of forward proxy deployment mode. In the next video, we're going to talk about the limitation in forward proxy. See you next time. Thank you.